Hey everybody, this is Josh McKinney, and I just want to welcome you to episode 66 of the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show. It's been a while since we have released a new episode. Note, that was not an apology, it was just a statement. Haven't released a new episode and just getting back into the swing of things from vacation, and then also I have been training really hard. I've just been a little too exhausted to schedule episodes and things. My grappling match that I have is Saturday, and so I'll be able to get back into the swing of things, not training so hard, not being so beat up, and be able to put out a few more episodes and get back to our regular schedule starting this week. Today is the release that we would normally have, and it is it's an interview. So the interview is with my brown belt, Eric Huebner. So he is one of my original students from my school, and is a really good brown belt, really good wrestler. He's wrestled pretty much his whole life, and we dig into that. We talk all about what it's like coming up into wrestling, what it's like transitioning from wrestling into jiu-jitsu, and what he likes about the transition, what kind of brought him to that transition. And so I really think that you guys are going to love this episode. I had so much fun recording it. Eric's just a really fun guy. His personality doesn't fit his size or facial expressions. He is way nicer than you would expect if you were to see this 265-pound just monster of a man walking around with a frown on at a tournament. I think that's just how his face rests. But you guys are really going to enjoy it, and you guys will really get a lot out of this episode. I know that sounds like what you say every time it's you say an episode, but Eric talks about something, especially at the very end, that I think is going to resonate with a lot of people. Like the very end of the episode, I know that's pretty clickbaity, but it is at the very end of the episode. You guys know I always finish with the same question, and he provides an answer I don't believe anyone has ever answered. He answers the question in just a different way, and it can be so beneficial for so many people, especially that compete. And it was beneficial for me. It's something that I do not do enough, and it just gives something really cool. You guys are going to absolutely love that. As always, simplifyingjujitsu.com, we have our free ebook. If you are looking at wondering what the 5 essential positions of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are, and you guys want to check those out, be sure to check them out at simplifyingjujitsu.com. And that is all I have for you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy the episode. Here it is. Now. All right, Eric, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am good. So I thought we would start this interview. You're my brown belt. I didn't give you your purple belt, correct? Kyle gave you your purple belt?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been my brown belt, and you've been training with me for like 4 years, probably, like directly with me.
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 or 4 years, pretty much since my school started. And so I figured now would be the perfect time to ask, how do you say your last name? Is it Huebner or is it Huebner?
It's Huebner. I just don't correct anyone anymore.
Okay, see, that's what I always call you Huebner to people.
Yeah.
And I'll hear other people be like, oh no, it's Huebner.
Yeah.
And I'll argue it. I'll be like,
completely wrong.
Yeah, no, you don't know. He's my brown belt. I would know.
Yeah.
And
no, I just stopped caring after a little while,
But see, the way it's spelled, it makes more sense that it would be Huebner. Are you sure it's not Huebner?
You got to put the German in it.
Oh, okay.
You got to throw a little German in it. Huebner.
Okay. Huebner. I get it. Okay. I don't speak German though, so.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. Yeah. Here in America, It's
Yeah.
Huebner. Okay.
Yeah.
I really I thought that would be fun to get it started with, is actually figuring out how to say one
Yeah.
of my only brown belts last
Yeah.
names.
You
But
still won't remember, but that's fine.
no, I've asked you this before. I've actually asked you this in when we were doing Takedown Thursday or something like that. When we were
Okay.
posting those, I actually asked you in one of the videos. I
Yeah.
don't remember what you responded with. You might have
Yeah.
told me Huebner then, to be honest.
Yeah.
Uh, but I figured we would start with, Jiu-Jitsu wasn't your intro into grappling. And, you wrestled all through school. And so I just wanted to
Yeah.
start with first, what got you started in wrestling, and what age were you when you started wrestling?
Yeah. So I was the youngest of three, first off. And um, the way the story goes, I don't remember, right? I think I was 4 when I started wrestling. So obviously I don't remember that young, really.
Uh-huh.
Um, the way the story goes from my dad is basically he took me and my brothers to the Boys and Girls Club, and they had a sign up sheet on every sport that you could play. And my older 2 brothers said they wanted to wrestle. So that was it.
Yeah.
I never got a choice. I never got a choice on what I wanted to play. So it was, what do you guys want to do? Basically, my dad was a professional athlete. So in his mind, I'm going to make my kids professional athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So pick a sport when you're under 10 years old, and I'm going to make you really good at it. Was his thinking, you know. So that's how that all started. I wrestled from 4 years old all the way middle school, high school, college, and ended up in jiu-jitsu after that.
So,
My whole life.
just as you're not really the type of guy that would ever talk about these things. So honestly, like I said, I really have been your coach for 4 years. There's a lot of these things I have no idea. But what
Yeah.
are some of your accomplishments in wrestling?
In wrestling, okay, so not that great, to be honest. I mean, I was good, right? I was pretty good overall. But like I think 7th and 8th grade, I placed 7th place both years. Um, Coming into my freshman year of high school, I was like, I don't know, 30 and 15
Okay.
record. Sophomore year of high school, it gradually kept going. I gradually started to realize once I hit high school that, okay, I can play in college in this sport. Like, okay, I'm pretty good. You know what I mean? So it kind of started hitting me like sophomore year-ish. I went around, 40 and 10 or so. Junior year, I gradually kept getting better. I was like 45 and 5. My senior year, I ended up placing in Illinois State, which was is a huge deal in this country. To place in 2A Illinois State was a really big deal back then. You're basically guaranteed a college scholarship if you place in Illinois State.
What place did you get?
So in folk style, I got 5th. I lost one match. I went 49 and 1 as a senior in high school. I lost one match, and then after folk style, I went freestyle state, and I got 3rd, and then I won Greco State. So I placed in all 3 styles my senior year.
That's awesome. So,
and then going to Fargo, I wrestled for Team Illinois for a couple big tournaments and stuff, and did pretty well. But I placed in some high end tournaments. I just never won high end tournaments.
So you went 49 and 1. That one loss. What belt is that guy now?
Well, I believe he was a couple-time All-American, Division I All-American. So in my mind, in wrestling, he has been far past the black belt.
But
yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu, what you're telling me is you would smash this guy.
Yeah, I'd absolutely kill him.
Just making sure. We were on the same. Just making sure we were on the same page.
Yeah.
who really wins, and that's what
I
really
won in
matters.
life.
What would he do if you went out and pulled guard on him? He wouldn't know how to handle that.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
He would
Yeah.
lose. He would
Especially
lose.
since I think he's the same size and I'm 160 pounds heavier.
So what weight did you wrestle at in high school?
A lot different. Like I said, it was kind of that gradual starting to realize I'm really good at this sport. 4 years. It took me 4 years, all 4 years to realize this, right? So I went from 145 as a freshman to 171 as a sophomore, I believe. And then I went 171, 189 as a junior, and then I cut all the way back down to 160 as a senior.
All right.
My senior year is really when I was like, okay, I know how to cut my body to 6 to 8% body fat and still be what was considered healthy at the time. Looking back on it now, it was not. So I ended up cutting all the way to 160, which was a very hard cut being in high school and placing really high in a lot of tournaments there.
And it probably stunted your growth because you're pretty small, if we're being honest with ourselves.
You're a tiny fella.
Yeah, when I break the school up into two groups, he's always with the teenagers and women because it's just so much smaller than everybody. No, you're walking around at 265, 270 right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And feels every bit of 305, 310 when you roll.
Good. That's the goal. Yeah.
So you wrestle all through school, and then you're no longer wrestling. How long was it between not having another wrestling match before? Because you started in MMA, not Jiu-Jitsu, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And so how long? What was that time in between?
So I was fighting in college.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah. I was fighting in college. I was fighting on the side in
like
St.
sanctioned
Louis.
Fights.
Yes.
Okay. Just
They were.
Sure.
They were.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. And I was fighting at 170 for a little bit of side money, ticket sales, because you couldn't be paid as a fighter and be a collegiate athlete. So I was getting, $80, $120 or whatever for some ticket sales. I got like 5% of my ticket sales or something stupid like that, And I thought I was rich and I was going to, my next fight, I'll be in the UFC. So I transitioned from, there was no transition. It was just, I was wrestling in college. I was fighting on the side. And then after college, I went straight to jiu-jitsu, I guess. But
when was your last MMA fight?
My last MMA fight, I believe, was in 2007 or 2008 at 170 pounds.
And I like how you make sure to, you make sure to, because people at home are like, okay, so 13 years he's gained 100 pounds. That's not bad. That's but when was your last MMA fight versus when did you get up to 260?
So that's a whole story in itself. But my last MMA fight was in 07-08 area. And that's basically when I left my dad. That when my dad found out that I quit wrestling, he said, well, if you quit wrestling, then you quit wanting to stay at home. So see ya.
Yeah.
And from that day to a year later, it took me 1 year. I gained 100 pounds.
That is so impressive. That is a Guinness Book of World Records type thing right there.
It was a pretty big change. Yeah.
Would you attribute it to having cut weight so much? And
Absolutely.
Then you're either cutting or you're gaining weight. Those are like,
absolutely.
There's no in between.
No.
And and you see that in wrestling or just anything where guys cut weight a lot is when they stop having to cut anymore every few weeks having to cut, then they're just like, well, I only know how to eat
Yeah.
like a monster.
Right. Because that's all we were used to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't just wrestling season. You know, my first weight cut was in 7th grade, and it was like 5-6 pounds, right? And
Uh-huh.
I had a week to do it. Um, and I remember just feeling awful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I never stopped cutting weight, you know, for years.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally until I couldn't make weight anymore at college. My girlfriend at the time, my wife now, we were sitting on the couch, and I remember crying. I was bawling. I was like, I can't. This is the first time ever I can't make weight.
And no tears were coming out.
No,
You were so
I didn't have any
dry.
water left.
Yeah, you were so dry.
Yeah.
You were crying dust.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. You know, I was like, I can't, because my coach at the time wanted me to make 157. Well, I was a sophomore in college.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, I played football my senior year. I played football at 210 pounds, senior of high school. I played football at 210 pounds. I made 157 as a sophomore in college
Oh.
for like 2 or 3 tournaments. And then after that, I couldn't make it anymore. And I didn't understand why I couldn't make it anymore, but I didn't understand my body fully.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, my shoulders were the same width as they are now.
Yeah.
And I was making 157 pounds, you know.
And you're 19. Your body is
Yeah.
growing.
I'm trying to grow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that was, I never really got too deep into weight cutting, but I always thought like, oh, this is the weight class that I'm in, coming up from 14, like, oh yeah, I'll be at this weight class forever. I used to compete at 154, and I like, this is where I'll stay, man. This is the one. And then I remember when I transitioned to making lightweight, and it was like, I can't even get up to lightweight, and it's 167. And then I'm like, man, these last few tournaments, I've been struggling to make lightweight until the worst one was Worlds. I did I had to lose like 10 pounds in 2 weeks, and it's second before weigh-ins. I mean, you weigh in and then you go fight. It's Worlds.
Right.
And so trying to make that was horrible. And I was like, yeah, I'm not making this ever again, you know? And I probably still could make middle. But you know what? I don't feel
it got so bad. I remember one time we were in North Carolina, NHSCA Nationals, and I had kind of long hair like I do now. And I remember my coach shaving my head. We were on the bleachers at weigh-ins, and I was like 0.3 over, right? And he shaved my head. And because I couldn't run anymore. I'm like, I can't do anything else. We used to have the lemon drops. We would take the lemon drops and try to spit.
Yeah.
You know, and it would actually end up cutting our gums open. So we would actually just spit blood. So it was, but that might give you 0.1 pounds, you know, a tenth of a pound. It could. So we tried it, you know, and I remember him shaving my head, and I was still 1 over or 0.1 over. And I mean, it got so serious, you know, it was to the point where you had guys there at the scale to help you step up onto the scale.
Oh my gosh.
I'm 16 years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, this isn't, looking back now, I'm like, first off, I don't know if that's legal. To have someone help you on the scale. I'm pretty sure someone could get in trouble for that.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not illegal. It's just frowned upon.
It's very frowned upon. Yeah. So that was to the point of where my cut and weight got to. You know what I mean? It got to where I was so physically drained to where I wasn't cutting fat anymore. I was cutting muscle. Mm-hmm. And I was cutting so much muscle at such a young age that it was so detrimental to my body, you know, and not realizing it till later, obviously, but thinking I just had to make the weight all the time.
And that's like, and it's so tough because you just think it's a part of it. I remember who would it have been? I want to say it was actually Ross that was telling me this. When he was in school, he was saying that they were doing some type of medical exams with high schoolers, and he said, we're doing the wrestling like after they're doing like you know, I guess whatever you call it, like a checkup on these kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm not kidding. He goes, you would like stretch a kid's skin and then let it go. And he's like, it would take a while for the skin to get back down. He's like, you would like pinch their arm to see. He's like, they just, your fingerprints would just stay in their skin. They were so dehydrated. And yeah, man, I would say, I would say that aspect of wrestling is probably pretty dangerous, but would you say that, would you say that wrestling could be a really positive for kids too?
Absolutely. I mean, that was nothing but downplaying the sport, what I was just saying, right? Because everybody thinks they have to cut that weight, but man, we cut weight the wrong way, right? We cut weight through the sauna and through practice and through whatever we could do on the side to lose anything. The game has changed so much now. You're like, wait a second, you can eat healthy and lose weight?
But you can eat it all?
Yeah. No. So this blows my mind. First off, I'm like, wait a second. So you mean you guys get to eat meals and you still have energy for practice and still are able to cut weight? Like, this is crazy to me. So I learned all this after I cut weight the wrong way for so many years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously I gained 100 pounds in a year. So it took a toll on me.
Hey, but you haven't gained any more. So,
it's debatable.
Yeah, so my joke at the gym is that I always tell Eric every time I see him that he's looking small. And I know that he kind of laughs it off at the gym, but then he stops by Krispy Kreme and it's just shoveling donuts after, like, I won't be small.
I'll never be small again.
But then we'll transition out of this. So you were in, you're in wrestling, you're fighting MMA. What kind of got you focused on jiu-jitsu?
So I got a call from my brother-in-law, actually, at the time, and him and Derek McGuire were training jiu-jitsu, and Adam Marburger were all training jiu-jitsu, and they wanted to work takedowns. I was home from college at the time, and they said they asked me to come out and just show them some takedowns and show them some transition into basically a takedown to pass guard. So I went there, I don't know, a couple weeks, just to get some mat time in. And I'm like, wait a second, you guys actually enjoy this sport. You don't have to cut weight. You have fun doing it. You're not coming out of practice dying. You know what I mean? Saying, I'm dreading going back to practice because it's going to be so hard, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead in this story, but that's where I ended up falling in love with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, wait a second, this is basically the same thing as wrestling. I just get to learn a whole new sport, but I get to have fun with it. This is crazy to me. I've never stepped out of a wrestling practice and said, man, I had so much fun today. I had so much fun getting my head bashed against somebody else's and then trying to poke my eyes out and trying to kill me. I come out of jiu-jitsu practice and I work hard. I drill hard. I work hard. I go live as much as possible. And I come out and I'm like, you know what? I had a bunch of fun today.
Yeah.
I do that now, which is why I love the sport.
That makes
I've never had that before.
I know. And that makes such a difference for people, is that they realize like no one has to be there at jiu-jitsu. No, I don't know. We had a bunch of people in the adult class last night.
I was there.
And so it's just, it's packed. Like, everyone's training hard. Everyone's kicking each other in the head by accident. And then but nobody had to be there. You know what I mean? It wasn't like nobody's parent was dropping them off like, hey, you're going to jiu-jitsu tonight. Everyone's just like, we're just here to have fun. Like, this is a blast.
And nobody's fighting for a spot.
That is very true.
Nobody's fighting for a spot. That was huge to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't have to fight for my own spot here.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
I don't know. Just the love of jujitsu to me is I come out of every practice and I'm tired. I'm really tired,
mm-hmm.
but I also enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed going to practice. You
Yeah.
know, and that's something I never had, which was how my transition from wrestling to jujitsu went tenfold.
Yeah.
You know,
And so when you transition into jujitsu, well, actually, backtrack just for a second. I just thought I would throw this out there. You must not be a very good wrestling teacher because I've never seen Adam Marburger or Derek McGuire ever take down anybody in my entire life. Uh, but but I thought I would throw that in on them.
that's very true.
Yeah, yeah. And so but so you start to transition into doing jujitsu, and what was kind of your intro into jujitsu? What was kind of your maybe first couple years like?
Yeah, so it was a lot of getting beat up, a lot, and I enjoyed that part again also. You know what I mean? It was being the youngest of three. You know, that's why I got good at wrestling was because I got beat up all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so I stepped back into that realm of, John Minke.
Mm-hmm.
John Minke came to the war room, and he was a very tough black belt at the time, and he comes in there, and I'm like, I've been rolling with this guy, and I'm really good. And then I go with an actual black belt, and he just submits me over and over and over again. And I'm like, wait a second, there's so much more to learn here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just take everybody down and hope for the best. You know what I mean? They're gonna submit you
Mm-hmm.
easily. Um, and that's what made me fall in love with learning all over again. I guess you could say learning the sport and saying, okay, there's so much to learn here. And even to this day, I mean, last night you were showing a move from knee on belly when you're on bottom,
Mm-hmm.
knee on belly. And we went through and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can dive to this. Like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I love this. This is
Uh-huh.
amazing to me. And, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time, and still, I bet you once a week, I look at something like, oh, this could change my game. This would be amazing.
Yeah.
So again, never had that before. You know what I mean? So it just keeps my interest all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I
And
don't know if that fully answered your question,
yeah,
but that's
it does, man. And that's like and like a side note on like having a guy like Menke in is you actually got to train at that time in 2009 and 10
yeah,
with a legitimate black belt in the
yeah,
Midwest. And that was so uncommon.
right,
Now, I mean, like, now we have probably like, I don't know, 12, 14 black belts in our area, right?
hmm
But then you had like two,
yeah,
and you also probably didn't even know who they were because there
right,
wasn't the internet, or the internet
right,
wasn't as big. And so you just didn't get to train with those guys. I mean, when I started, Kyle was a purple belt. Uh, and so, yeah, and like you look at that, and that's way less common now.
yeah,
But like I remember I bet you I didn't get to roll with a black belt until I was at least a blue belt. And so for
okay,
most people to actually get to feel that, and then Mankey was also a bigger guy too.
yeah,
And he was not a type of guy that would go easy on you.
oh, absolutely not,
He would
no,
put it on you.
yes, every
Uh-huh.
time, and he
Uh-huh.
never let me compete down. He never, every time I compete, I'm like, John, I'm a white belt, and he's like, I don't care. He's like, you're going to advanced. I'm like, well, what? Why don't I just compete with the guys that I'm supposed to compete with? He's like, no, you're not competing at white belt. You're
Yeah,
not
you need
competing
to
at blue.
win.
You're
Uh-huh.
just competing in advanced. I'm like,
That's awesome.
this is crap.
Yeah,
So I
that
felt like he was really good with that. And
uh-huh.
he was like, well, your wrestling's going to supersede a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care. He's like, I want you to go lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same mindset in wrestling. It was, I don't, if you go 50-0, I didn't do my job as a coach. You know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah.
put you up against those guys who can challenge you, who can beat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want you to test. I want to test your limits. I want to put you in that deep water and see what you come out with. And that's what he did with me at the start, you know, and that's why I feel like I have such a competitive desire now to win, you know, is because at the start of my jiu-jitsu career, he's like, no, you're fighting black belts. That's it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I honestly, I still always hope that you lose anytime you go compete.
Yeah.
Any chance that I get, I'm just like, man, I'm telling the guy before, hey, this is what he's gonna probably come out and do. You know.
Good.
Yeah, go out, shake his hand, and say, "Wow, you look a little small for this division, buddy." Get inside of his head.
He'll start crying.
So then you're training under John, and what kind of brought you over to Kyle's?
Consistency. So John was a MMA coach, and he did jiu-jitsu on the side, kind of thing. Once he got his black belt, he was, in my mind, he was kind of like, okay, I'm a black belt. I'm just going to coach MMA now and be considered a great black belt. So we would go through MMA practice, which I didn't want to do. I just wanted to do straight jiu-jitsu. So we'd go through MMA practice and then work jiu-jitsu at the end. And that's what, you know, kind of talking with Adam and Derek and Marty and a few of the other guys who kind of introduced me to jiu-jitsu. They were like, well, Kyle Watson's does jiu-jitsu all the time. You know, you can do the MMA classes too, but jiu-jitsu is their main focus there. And I'm like, oh, well, that's what I'm looking for, you know? So I transitioned over to that, and I started with basically full-time jiu-jitsu.
And so you transition, what year would that have been when you went under Kyle?
Man, that was 2015.
Okay, that was guessing 14, but okay, that sounds right. That sounds
there.
And so
I was only there for a year or two, or a year or so, until I found out your gym was closer. Because I was training with you and Adam in the jiu-jitsu garage a couple times, and then heard you had opened your own gym. That's what transitioned me from Watson's to you.
Yeah. You know. And just so we're all on the same page, he said closeness was the only reason that he doesn't train with my coach. He trains with me. So it's convenience is the only reason. It had nothing to do with, oh, Josh is a great coach. He really is good with his guys. You know, he's a good competitor, anything like that. Oh, he was closer, you know, it's like the, like internet dating now with the, you know, how we met. Oh, I just looked at who was closest to me. And I said, oh yeah, this is who I'll spend the rest of my life with.
There's other reasons, but we can go into that. Yeah.
But that's, so you start training. I guess I probably was I a purple belt when you started training, or was I a brown belt already?
You had either just got your brown or into your purple, one or the other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, and it was kind of a slow transition. You were training at both places for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, and then you started just going full time here. And really, you know, Justin, who I've had on the show, and you were kind of the two not bigger guys size wise. Obviously you are, but Justin is not.
It's okay.
Yeah. But just the two guys that really brought a lot of the attitude of the gym, I think. And you know, like kind of what is head nod that, you know, and then obviously there were other guys too. But I just, you know, like, I guess you guys were promoted first and kind of the next tier up, right? Really right behind me, just always, you know, a few stripes or whatever behind me. Not that we do stripes at our gym, but
I've never had one of those.
Yeah. You've never had a stripe?
I had a couple stripes on a blue belt, I believe.
Okay.
And then no, it was one stripe on a blue belt. And then it went straight to purple, straight to brown.
Okay.
I never got stripes on purple or brown.
That sounds about right. I never did. I used to do stripes at the gym. I just didn't like it, man. And it's like, man, this is so hard to keep track of. And everybody's argument for it was the same. like, oh, it keeps people motivated. And I'm like, yeah, you know what else keeps people motivated? When Eric is passing their guard and talking trash on them and like,
Yeah,
you're never going to be a real man and stuff like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
That motivates most people,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. I did it last night.
Who'd you do it to yesterday?
Christian. I was
Ah,
talking
yeah.
smack to Christian as I was passing his guard and then submitting him.
Yeah. Did you see me beat up Christian and Casey at the same time?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. I loved
Yeah.
it.
What you don't really see as well, but I kicked Christian in the head so hard when I was
Good.
passing.
Good.
And so I did heel hook him,
Yeah.
but I will say he was probably a little bit jumbled at the time because I punted him. I I really crushed him with one. But
He deserves it.
yeah, a win is a win, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Okay, so uh, as you kind of look on to, you'll never get your black belt, but really
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should be right there.
Yeah.
As you kind of look at black belt, what is jiu-jitsu going to be for you as a black belt 6 years from now when you actually get your black belt?
Yeah. 6 to 8
Yeah,
is what I'm expecting.
that's the timetable we're aiming for.
Yeah.
If we're
I've
lucky.
only been at Brown for like 4, so
Yeah,
10
yeah.
to 12 years at Brown will be fine.
Yeah, if you're lucky, we'll
Yeah.
get you your black belt.
No, man, what I seriously now, granted I'm 33 years old. I've had multiple surgeries now. I'm kind of broke down, beat up. I still compete when I can. I compete more than average for sure, but you know, my big goal as a black belt is to be more of a leader for our team. I think we have such a strong, tough team that it's like a lot of people come to me advice for competition. Because I've been not only in jiu-jitsu but wrestling. I've been doing this my whole life, competing on the mat my whole life, and I feel like that's where people come to me in the practice room, like, hey, what should I be doing in this tournament, and let's go over how do you look at a game plan and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I don't know. That's one of my main goals is to be way more of a leader than I am now, and I feel like I am now, but I want to be even more so, and really contribute to everyone else and not just focus on myself getting better all the time. I still want to, but I want to focus on getting everyone else better also, because we have such a big, diverse team. I feel like I can help in my style versus your style versus Huff's style versus Dylan's style versus Christian's style. All of us have different styles, and all of us can help everyone in a different way. And I feel like I don't do that enough right now. Even considering myself a leader on the team right now, when I actually get the black strap around my waist, I want to make that a big priority to help everyone else on our team succeed.
Man, that is what I always. So this isn't. I won't even preface it and be like, oh, this isn't me trying to toot my horn or something. But it will sound like it. The truth is, people always ask, wow, your white belts get so good so fast. And obviously, we haven't been around long enough that they're going to be asking like about the blue to purple transition and stuff like that just yet, because we just haven't been around long enough. Right. But that's something people always come in and say, like, man, all your white belts are so tough. How is that? And I always give the same answer, and it sounds generic. It sounds like I'm keeping some secret, but the truth is, like, it's just all the guys that we have are so good at giving back to the belts underneath them, and it's always been like that. It just always has with our whole team, because if I say or teach or do something, obviously that can be helpful, but I think people always still are going to look at it as, well, he's the owner. This is what he has to do. This is what he has to, you know what I mean? And so when you see these other guys that are just there to help for no reason, right? For no benefit of themselves. You and Huff have done it forever. And you look at, obviously now Logan runs the Jerseyville gym, but that's what
Mm.
they do at the Jerseyville gym, and Dylan does it. And,
Yeah.
Dylan's teaching in Jerseyville once a week now. And it's like, you get these guys that are just willing to just be like, hey, this is where I struggled. This would help you. This is what I learned, and this will help you. And I think that having that attitude is one of the biggest things that gets guys good. Is like, there's no secret being kept. There's no blue belt like, man, I can't teach these white belts stuff because then they'll be able to beat me. What I mean? It's almost invited of like,
I
hey,
want you to submit me.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, you'll never beat me. Here's everything I know. You still can't. It still won't matter.
Right.
And so I think
that's another reason why I love our team. I tell everybody, outside of the jiu-jitsu world, when they're thinking about coming to Head Nod, or they're thinking about doing jiu-jitsu in general, and I explain our gym, right? I say, look, I'm 260, 270 pounds. I've done this my whole life. I'm successful in almost every tournament I've ever been in. And these guys at our gym don't care. Last night, Christian is 140, 160 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, he's probably 160.
Okay, 160. And he told me numerous times, even after submitting him last night, numerous times, he is going to beat the hell out of me. And I love it. It doesn't matter who it is at our gym. I got called out almost every round last night. Mm-hmm. And every person in our gym that I've beaten. I beat weekly, 5 times a week. I beat the hell out of them. But they still call me out and they're like, I'm going to beat your ass tonight. Mm-hmm. Tonight's my night. And I'm like, okay, bring it on.
Yep.
So it's that mindset that I think separates us a lot. I don't know, that I love about that. And I don't know, to me, it's healthy. It's
I totally, and well, I say that it could be, it could not be, because there is, sometimes you go to gyms and that is like, it's like there, if you're a purple belt, you're better than all the white and the blue belts, not just in jiu-jitsu, just as when it comes to being a human being, you're just they're trash and you're good. And you know what I mean? And like, they can't submit you and things like that. And, I
that's
think
not the case at our gym.
It isn't. It's like, yeah, if you're, if you're tired, like I see I look over and Eric's laying down and be like, oh, I'm going to just crush Eric right now. I'm bringing the heat on Eric right now, and I'm talking trash on his wrestling right now too. And, I think that is like, that attitude, I really think it creates such a positive environment of like, guys, everybody's chasing the next guy, but the next guy is okay with losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like,
I want you to be that good.
I don't want you to be that good. Maybe like 2 months ago, Eric passed my guard, and Eric hasn't passed my guard in a while.
Everybody write that down.
And everybody saw it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you guys. I thought about quitting jiu-jitsu. I thought about changing the locks on the gym, and then like everyone was trying to get in and like, no, we're not doing jiu-jitsu anymore.
No, it's over.
Yep, we're doing something different. I'm making a different business. We're doing cardio kickboxing only at this gym. And quitting jiu-jitsu. And all it did was make me try to kill Eric even more the next time we rolled. You know? It was just it's how it was. The past was really good. It'll never happen again. And but I think that attitude is just so important to have, of like, the next guy's trying to get you, they're trying to beat you, they're trying to, and they're doing it for the sense of pushing themselves. And a lot of people don't have that. It's like a lot of people have this thing where it's like disrespectful to beat somebody that is better than you in jiu-jitsu. And it's so bizarre. Like, you see that with so many guys. They'll only roll with people that they are substantially better than, or that are substantially better than them. They won't roll with people that are like kind of close, because you can't lose to the guys that are that haven't trained as long as you know what I mean? Like, and so it's
Right.
okay if I'm losing if it's to a black belt, but like if it was another purple belt, you know what I mean, then I can't lose. And I think that's such a bad attitude to have, because uh you end up not testing yourself.
Exactly. I completely agree. I don't care. I know it's kind of corny to say, but it never matters what color is around your waist, right? It's just to hold your pants up, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. I truly believe that. And I've believed that for a long time. I don't care if you're a black belt. If you've been a black belt for 10 years and you've won worlds 10 times, I am going to try to murder you. You know, and it's the same thing with every zero stripe white belt at our gym. They are going to try to beat me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care
Yeah.
what I've done, what I've accomplished, all this stuff. They don't care. And I love that.
Uh-huh. And there's no like, oh, you're going hard on me and I'm a brown belt. How dare you? I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Right.
end your life now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna end your life regardless. You know? It's just like I think it's just like a really cool attitude to have, and it's something I just love that we have at our gym.
Yeah.
Is it just like guys just don't care. It's just like, oh, you beat me. Let's go again. All right,
Right.
let's do the
Right.
next one. You know, what'd you
Yeah.
beat me with? I want to know that. You know, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
man, that makes people so much better, so much faster, is when
Yeah.
they just don't care, you know?
Yeah. And which I guess plays into the whole point of this, which is why I love jiu-jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you're not fighting for a spot, like we said. You know, you're not trying to kill each other to be the best in the room all the time. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make myself better. And which again, I'm trying to transfer into making my team better
Mm-hmm.
now. You know, that's more of a main goal now than me competing. I still want to compete, I still want to win, but I also want to put more emphasis on making everyone else better than
Mm-hmm.
me, you know, because there's so much opportunity at our gym to make people better than I am or than you are. You know, it's you want to make them better, right? So
And that is, yeah, man, that's huge. So just kind of shifting a little bit, you get your black belt, you want to be more of a leader at the gym. Do you have any competitive goals, anything you're looking to try to do as a competitor as a black belt?
I haven't even thought that far. I just, you know, I've had a goal at brown belt to beat every black belt on the mat. That's seriously. And we have such a diverse group of black belts in our area that we get to train with. And I want it to be well known when I get my black belt that people have to say behind my back or behind your back, oh, that should have happened 5 years ago.
Yeah, and
That's
it probably should have, but I'll never promote him.
that's what I want,
Mm-hmm.
right? I want to be considered that highly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, he should have been a black belt a while ago. That's why he's winning all these brown belt tournaments. It's
Yeah,
because he should have been a black belt.
he's a sandbagger.
Yeah, he's a sandbagger. Yeah.
I'll
So
always say that while I'm coaching Eric and he's winning. I'll be like, this guy's such a sandbagger. I saw him the other day. I saw him competing at brown belt, and yeah, he should be a black belt now. And they're like, oh, really? Like, yeah, he's trash, man. You know, who's his coach? I don't know. I have no
yeah, I don't know. Never heard of
idea.
her. But that's, I mean, I love that part of it. You know what I mean? And I want to compete at black belt. Obviously, I just haven't thought of what I want to do. You know, it doesn't matter to me that much. When I have the time, you know, I work full time. I got 2 kids, got an awesome supportive wife. So when I have let's say Worlds is in August and, you know, March, April, May comes around and I'm like, okay, I have the time to actually put in the camp for this and go to Worlds. Then I'm going to go to Worlds.
Yeah,
It's simple as that. You know what I mean? The time with my life, you know.
for sure. I get it, man. So you know, I thought I always like to have some type of story time or something on the show, and so I was thinking like I have a lot of fun stories with you and I, you know, like just all kinds of different things because competed with each other a bunch. We've trained together for a long time. But I
Yeah.
think one of the stories that I retell the most, and I don't think I've ever told on this podcast, and it could be, like it's an area of sensitivity, probably. But I would say this is one of the funnier stories was in Lynchburg, Tennessee, when Robert and I got asked to leave
Yes.
the restaurant. I just thought you could share that story maybe from your perspective a little bit, and yeah.
Okay.
And you can choose to be as politically correct or impolitically correct
Yeah, that's
as you
questionable.
want. Yeah.
So we were in, Lynchburg. I don't know what tournament it was.
It
I have
was
no idea.
so it was Cincinnati Open. Okay, so the place
Okay.
is, I think it was it Tennessee or was it Ohio? Maybe since it was Ohio. I think it's Lawrenceburg, which what the place was actually called.
Because we
But
kept calling it Lynchville.
yeah. After the story that will be will be told to you, you'll understand.
Yeah. So we were at Cincinnati Open, and I think it was the night before.
Yeah, that sounds
The
right.
night before we all competed, right? And I have a ritual that I want a steak and a red glass of wine. That's my night before meal. So I asked everybody, hey, let's find a steakhouse. Obviously, I'm not cutting weight anymore, so I have a giant steak. So I asked everyone, hey, can we find a steakhouse and eat there? And everybody's like, yeah, sure. So we find a steakhouse in Lawrenceburg, something, Ohio, and myself and Johnny, I believe Johnny, walk in and ask for a table, and the lady says, okay, hang on 1 second, let me get back with you. And Robert and Josh walk in, and she comes back to the front desk and she says, how many? I said 4. And she looks at you two and said, we don't have any tables available.
And keep in mind, Robert and I are brown. Okay. So yeah, to get this, I honestly, I've never experienced anything like it, but it like, and I'm not somebody that ever even sees anything like that.
It was blatant.
It was blatant. She literally went, actually, it's going to be a while. We don't have any tables.
We don't have anything available.
And we were like,
while we're looking at open tables.
Like, I've never experienced anything like this. I was like, hey lady, both Robert and I are half white. Could we just share a chair? Could it be a three chair table? And we'll just get a cheek on each for a chair. Come on, lady.
Absolutely. It was 100% blatant right in front of our face. Hence the reason why we called it Lynchville.
Ohio. Yeah, that was dude. That was crazy. That was and of course we all had a pretty good sense of humor about it. Yeah. And but it was crazy, and it was just like, and like the best part was, I was kind of like, wait, did that just happen? And then you guys were kind of like looking at each other like, something weird is going on. Robert's already in the car. He anticipated it. He knew. He was like, he's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Gone.
Yeah, she had 0 issues when me and Johnny walked in. When you two walked in behind us, there was a problem.
Yeah. We only got tables for 2s, boys. You guys need to keep on trucking. How about you just drive through town?
Yeah. Whew.
That was that was a good one. That was, I think you were the only person that scored a point in out of the 4 of us from that. We did not have a solid performance on the team didn't have a good showing. I my first guy no-showed, and then I fought Murillo in the final.
Murillo, yeah.
And so I was triangled for like 7 minutes.
Fought out of a triangle for at least 7 minutes out of the 10-minute match.
I remember being there and being like, if I've been in this triangle this long and I haven't tapped and I'm not unconscious, I've got to be able to I'm going to get out of this eventually.
Should be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be good. And I'm like sitting there thinking like, I wonder if I did go unconscious and this is a dream. Like, I wonder if this is real life right now. Because I've been in this triangle forever.
At what point do your legs get tired?
That's what I'm saying.
After triangling someone for 7 minutes.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Well, the funniest thing is I have been on like the receiving end of just the most hateful comments on YouTube and Instagram from like IBJJF or Flow Grappling sharing something. And like, it's the craziest thing. No one ever says like, oh, wow, that move was awesome. They always just attack whoever got the move hit on them. You know? And so, you know, the worst one was when I fought Dominic Bell at brown belt. It's like my first brown belt tournament, and I make it to the medal round of No-Gi Worlds. I pick up a single on him, and I can't take him down. And I try forever, and I can't take him down. And, man, people were just roasting me in the comments. They were just like, this idiot, he's a brown belt, he can't even. And I'm like, dude, come on. I'm commenting back like, hey dad, could you not post this on this forum? You know, like, dude, people are eating me up. Well, dude, the Murillo fight, the best part was that I'm in a triangle for most of the match. I get out, we fight a little more. He sweeps me and he ends up submitting me with like just a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
And people are in the comments like, Murillo's supposed to be good. He can't even finish a triangle choke.
Oh, man.
This guy, dude, I swear, if you go to that YouTube video, people are literally like, yeah, this Murillo guy, he must. No, and bashing him. Like, yeah, this Murillo can't even, he sucks. He can't even triangle people. And I'm like, dude, it was tight. it was uncomfortable.
I was uncomfortable for 7 minutes.
No one says, wow, this guy really defended the triangle really well. This guy did a great job. They were like, you know, Murillo sucks. This Josh guy's even worse. But Murillo, I'm like, man, people are so mean online. I have.
They know they can't get beat up for it. So.
That's exactly what it is. And don't get me wrong. If you've ever commented anything negative, I have a log. That I have everybody's name on. And I'm going to, meet you at a seminar one day. And I know you're going to be like totally two-faced. Like, oh man, it's so nice to meet you. I'm a huge fan. And I'm going to be like, yeah, let's roll, buddy. And start playing Neon Face the entire round. Like, this is
completely Wagner Rocha you.
This is life. Okay. So we're kind of getting after we've talked about racism a little bit and how it pertains to Ohio or whatever place that we were in. I always like to finish with this question. It's the most important question, but I am at a Eric Huebner seminar, not Huebner, an Eric Huebner seminar. And you show some stuff. We get to question and answer. I am a blue belt. I just get my blue belt and I raise my hand and I say, Eric, I suck at jiu-jitsu. How do I suck less at jiu-jitsu?
Okay. I think my answer to that would be if you know what you can do, if you're a blue belt and you're competing at blue belt, if you know what you can do and you're losing, to me, 90 to 95% of that would be your mindset. Not your jiu-jitsu skill, your mindset. I go into every match thinking I'm going to win, knowing that I'm going to win. If I go up against Cyborg, Bushesha, anybody, I think I'm going to beat him. Before I step on the mat, my nerves are gone, and I say to myself, I'm going to win this match. My mindset is there to beat anybody in the world. And if I'm losing by 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, I'm not out of it. You know what I mean? I'm not out of this match. This is jiu-jitsu. We're not fighting for position. We're fighting for submission. So in my opinion, to suck less at jiu-jitsu would be to change your mindset. I see too many guys get so nervous before a match that they lose the match before it even starts. They're going out there gassed. They're going out there thinking that this guy might score on them. This guy might take him down, might submit him. Change your mindset. Change your mindset to, I'm going to beat anybody in my bracket this day. And you will suck less at jiu-jitsu.
That is an excellent answer. I absolutely love that one. I think that's the first time anyone's given an answer on mindset for sucking less at jiu-jitsu. I really like that answer.
I don't want to change your jiu-jitsu. You know your jiu-jitsu. Change your mind.
I like that. That's good. That's going to be on a t-shirt one day. So just to finish, is there anything you want to say to finish? Anything like that?
Well, I do. I mean, I do want to speak on what I just said about the mindset thing. One of the things I heard a long time ago, you know, and this is stemming from my dad in wrestling. And when I was a little kid, my dad used to bump me up in the older age groups, so I'd get my ass beat, you know. And I'd go look at the brackets on the board, and I'd say, Dad, they bumped me up in the 9 and 10-year-olds. And my dad would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. You know, I'm going to go fix it for you, buddy. I'm going to tell them, you're only 6. You can't go with these 9 and 10. And then I'd go with the 9 and 10-year-olds and they'd kill me. You know? That's awesome. Yeah. But stemming from that, going to, you know, everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people look at what everybody else can do and they try to stop what the other person can do. And that's why I say mindset, because I don't care what the other person can do. I care what I can do. I want to invoke my game plan on you, not stop your game plan and then possibly get mine going. Right? That's what I think Hoist Gracie maybe talked about before, and one of his I think it was a Grand Prix fight back in those days, and he was being interviewed and he said, well, are you worried about their striking, whoever it was, you know, Vanderlei Silva, I think it was, he was fighting Vanderlei Silva or something like that. Are you worried about Vanderlei Silva striking? And, you know, are you training stand-up more now that you're going to fight Vanderlei Silva? And he said, no. Why would I care about what Vanderlei Silva is going to do? I care about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to beat him. And that's always stuck with me, which translates into mindset, right? I don't care about how good this guy is. I'm going to impose my will on him, you know, and that's where I get the whole mindset strategy.
That's really good, man. I really love that. That was a good answer. I take back some of the stuff I've said about you. You know what, Eric? You're getting your black belt in 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
Dang. That's good.
Anything else you want to say to finish?
That's it, man. Thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being on. That was a really fun episode. I think I really think people will like this one.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, buddy. You have a good day.
All right, you too.
And that is your episode. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really think that a lot of people are going to get a lot out of the very end of the episode, that mindset part of the episode. I know I did. I was really excited about it. I really, really loved that part of the episode. There's something unique. Not everyone talks about mindset. Nobody talks about mindset in jiu-jitsu. And so it's important that we get that mindset, because it's so important for everyday life. Just being confident, believing in yourself, right? And so that's all I have for you guys in the sense of the interview. Like I said, my fight is coming up this Saturday. If you guys want to get tickets, they're at cagetix.com. The only way to watch the fight live is going to be in person. They're not doing a live stream. They are supposed to release the video later on. I'm not sure when later on is. I don't know if that's a day, a week, a month. I'm not really sure. But that is what I got. I can't wait to go and fight and bring it. And as Eric would say, I can't wait to go win. I'm gonna go out and fight and try to win this, not try, win. Eric would beat me for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I will, as always, put all of Eric's Instagram and everything in the show notes, in the description. And so we don't really do show notes. I don't usually post our episodes as show notes with show notes. I think I just put everything in the description. I think show notes are something different. Who knows? I don't know how any of this stuff works. I just try to teach people jiu-jitsu and how to get better at it. That is all I have for you guys today. Look out. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. It's just Josh McKinney. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because tomorrow a new episode of the Why You Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show comes out. So if you guys haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And then if you just listen to the audio version, be sure to subscribe to the audio of this podcast so you guys can know each time a new episode is coming out. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope that you guys suck just a little bit less at jiu-jitsu.